Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about hypopressives, why there are different nuances of the breathwork technique and poses, and what is going to be most beneficial if you're working as a healthcare professional offering hypopressives as a tool. So, first thing to say is that I didn't realise this when I first started teaching hypopressives, that there are different nuances of the hypopressives breathwork. So you can see this in the research studies, you can also see this in training organisations and in local delivery of hypopressives. That actually, I'm going to talk about 4 different ways of teaching just the hypopressives breathwork, and that's not even looking at the different types of poses you can teach and the different ways you can put a program together. So the first way to do hypopressives with the breathwork is it's a full inhale and a full exhale, all the air out, and that's all you do. So there's no rib stretch, and actually what eventually happens is you do start to get a natural rib stretch, but it can take a while, and it's just a different way of kind of teaching the breath work, but doesn't include an active rib stretch. So that's the first way you can learn how to teach it. The second way is by doing a full exhale, that's after a full in-breath, and then also doing a rib stretch as well. So that would be exhaling all of the air and then coming into a rib stretch. But often, as I've said in a lot of my videos before, this full exhale can transfer positive pressure and can basically inhibit improvements with the technique. The next way of teaching it is a full inhale, a full exhale, and a rib stretch, and also drawing in of the abdominal muscles consciously. And I think this is more taught in the fitness industry, but in terms of pelvic health, again, you don't want to be drawing in the abdominal muscles while you're doing the vacuum. And then the fourth way is the way that we teach, which is a full inhale. The exhale isn't a full exhale, it's an exhale until the breath fades away. So you breathe in, and then you exhale. Breath fades away, but you can see that I could keep exhaling. So I'll show you again, and then I'll keep going to do a full exhale after a pause. So breathing in, exhale. So you can see there's actually quite a bit more I could exhale out, but we don't do that. We just breathe out till the breath naturally fades away, and then we move into a rib stretch as well. So 4 different nuances of the hypopressives breath work. So the most common one you'll see in the research is a full inhale, a full exhale, so you're breathing out all of the air, and then they're coming into a rib stretch, which we don't teach that because of the tendency to increase pressure in the pelvic area. So that is just looking at the breathwork component of the hypopressive. So you've got your breathwork component, and then you've got your poses component as well. And again, the way that hypopressives has been traditionally taught is different levels. So you work on the foundational poses first when you're training, then you add in some advanced, and you add in some harder poses on top of that. So you've got these 3 sort of levels of progressions as a hypopressives trainer. Now the foundational poses are really foundational. So if you're working with women for pelvic health, you're going to want to have some of the advanced poses, so things like the lunges and the bridge, leg extensions. You really want to work the quads. So the principles around working more of the whole body for tone and strength, and also really challenging that breath hold and the movement, that synergy between the pelvic floor and the diaphragm. So typically what we see is that women, as I said, they start to improve, and then you add in the foundational pose, they get a nice improvement there, and then by the time you've got to the end of foundational pose, you're starting to plateau a bit. Add in the advanced poses, and then you get another improvement there, another little plateau, and then an improvement towards the end. So generally we're seeing women notice improvements in the first 4 weeks. It's quite unusual not to notice an improvement in the first 4 weeks, but certainly by 6 weeks, very, very occasionally by 8. And then half of the symptom improvements by about mid-program. So we work with women over 14 weeks, that's around about 8 weeks, 9 weeks. You're seeing about a reduction half of the symptoms, and then by the end, another half on top of that. So the patterns are fairly similar. Obviously, there are women who are outside of that pattern, and some women improve less and some women improve more than that. But the average we're seeing in terms of improvements is around about an 85% improvement. And the way we're calculating that is that we are measuring the improvements from the beginning to the end of the program. At the beginning, women will score on a scale of 0 to 10 how bad certain symptoms are. So we've got 15 different scores, and this is part of a pelvic organ prolapse symptom screen with a few other questions, and at the end they do exactly the same. So for example, if at the beginning they score 10 out of 10 for 3 questions, and at the end they're scoring 2 out of 10 for those same 3 questions, that's an 80% improvement for those symptoms. So we do that for all 15, which include quality of life scores as well. But on average, we're seeing around about an 85% improvement for big, sort of large group of women, there's 75 women, which is pretty good, I think. So I think it's really important to understand that the different nuances of the hypopressive breathwork will probably get you different outcomes. The amount of poses you put in, again, is probably going to give you different outcomes. But really the main thing that you want to do, if you want to learn hypopressives for pelvic floor dysfunction, then come and do our standardized training, because what we'll do is we'll teach you how to deliver it, how to teach the breath work, how to get the kind of results that we're seeing. We've got a step-by-step process with a practical guide. We've got all the videos you're going to need for your clients, so that it's all really straightforward. So you just start the program and all those steps are in place to help you get your women from A to B feeling loads better and reducing their symptoms, which is why women come to work with us. So yeah, so monitoring improvements is really important, and as I said, the different nuances in the breathwork technique are worth knowing, and they can impact improvements. So I hope that was helpful. Take care, bye.